They are a malign, evil, diabolical force in society. I'm Joseph. I'm here in Medellin, Colombia. For anyone new to the channel, I discuss dating, cold approach, and relationships. And I'm on a live today, strolling around. I'm just going to go down to La Setenta. So let's walk and talk. Come join me on this exploration as this topic of apps as a literal manifestation of Satan in society. Actually, much worse than Satan. Oh my God, what is going on with the roads today? This is supposed to be a sleepy suburban area. This is what I was advertising. I walk around here every day. It's always empty. The second I pull a live up to talk, it's mayhem. Okay, so why apps are actually much worse than Satanism. Much worse than Satanism. Techno-Satanism. Let me give you a rough working definition of Satanism here. In this case, Satan is the force that subverts your natural human appetites towards sexuality, towards food, towards enjoyment, subverts that, obsesses you, and takes over your soul. Yeah. That's why you see with junkies, you see with like sex addicts, there's a hollowness within these people because their appetite has completely taken over, and that is really what Satan is. Truly, that's what Satan is. People don't really understand, you know, like the guy with the horns and the demon and everything. Within Christian theology, really, this is what Satan is. And even if you're an atheist, or you're a vitalist, or you're a different religion, there's something we can all recognize in this idea that when your appetites completely take over your soul, your appetite for dopamine leads you to become a coke addict. Your appetite towards sex leads you to just spend all your money on prostitutes. There's something deeply sick and dark, and even more dark about the people who push these forces out into the world. So this is why they glamorize drug dealers and all of this. You'll never ever, I used to be a club promoter, you'll never ever see me do that at all. There's nothing fucking glamorous about it. You're literally doing the work of Satan, because people get into these substances. Even in the short term, it never has a good effect. I've never ever seen anyone do a line of coke and it have a good effect on them in my entire fucking life. Let alone people becoming addicted. So that's what Satan is. And so the apps obviously appeal to the male sexual instinct, of course. You know, I'm walking around now. What am I seeing? I'm not seeing too many girls around. I'm seeing old people. You know, so when I do see a beautiful woman, my eyes are going to light up. My body's going to light up. I might want to approach her. Or I might just want to look at a beautiful woman passing me by. And in fact, we've got one coming up shortly. But when you're faced on a screen with all of these women and they're all passing you by, your eye, your consciousness, your mind is enraptured, is captured by these images, by all these girls, and they're playing up to it, of course. You know, they are, to them, male attention in general, feeling special, yeah, is so addictive. It's such a dark underside to female psychology. This crazy need for attention that men, we just don't experience it in the same way. Specifically male attention or attention in general. The desire to feel special. So they're all sexualizing themselves in the photos and so on. And well, the forces of Satan meet each other, male and female, in one foul, disgusting app. Yeah, and also look at the people who create these apps, who profit off them. They could definitely do something with the algorithm to make it less completely destructive to male self-esteem? They could, but they don't want it, because as long as they can keep you desperate and lonely, they've got you exactly where they want you. They've got you exactly where they want you. And this is modernity in a nutshell. And this is why I emphasize brotherhood and gangsterism so much. A gang, as I define it, is a group of men who simply decide we're going to pool our ideas, resources, time, whatever it is, and we're going to work together in some way to further our own self-interest, enlightened self-interest. That's what a gang is. I'm not talking about anything criminal. So that when I advocate for gangsterism, that's what I'm talking about. They want you weak. They want you weak. The weaker you are, the more pathetic, the more desperate you become, the more of a mark you're going to be for their product. Buy your Tinder passport, $20 a month, whatever. Buy some extra likes. Buy some super likes. If you just buy more super likes, you're gonna land the girl of your dreams. Imagine how much they've got you. And the fact that this has now become normalized over the years through culture, it's a tragedy of our generation. It's truly a tragedy. It's a tragedy for young people who think that they grew up in this, so they think it's actually normal, which is even more tragic. And so your appetites are being sold back to you. And this is really, it's much worse than Satan in a devil costume with the hot babes around him. That kind of Satan, that's a bit of fun. This is the real Satan. The popular theme of Satan is like, the guy in hell he's gonna spike you with his fork and everything. That's actually quite an appealing vision, right? It's from the god Baal, B-A-E-L, Baal. That was a kind of competing god to Yahweh. So he had the horns and everything, and he lost the intergalactic battle. So they made him into the figure of the devil, right? But really, what the devil is it's the repackaging and subversion of your own healthy instincts. So that version of Baal that you see with the red horns and everything, that's not really what you're up against. Okay, that's a really silly kind of media interpretation of it, although it's very old media, to be fair. It's actually older than Christianity itself. So what are the effects of this? So first of all, male self-esteem is taking an absolute pummeling due to these apps. It's not like it wasn't on the ropes for like the last 50 to 60 years with all of the changes that the male species has had to endure as a sex. Like, we've gone from, if you work hard, you'll probably be able to be the head of a household, you'll probably get a wife, society will continue, and you're not going to have a great life, but it'll be tolerable, the basics of survival will be taken care of, and at the very least you'll be able to have your family. Now we've got, unless you become an investor, i.e. a speculator, a normal job is not even going to be sufficient for you, probably not even sufficient for you to live independently, as in not with your mates, or in your mum's attic. And on top of that, we've now harvested all of the potential women that you could have potentially built a life with. Through culture, we've now harvested them into companies and we've brainwashed them. Women are much more susceptible to brainwashing than men, very easily susceptible to it. And we've brainwashed them into thinking that men are the enemy, blah, blah, blah. We kind of know this, and there is an element of truth to it. There's an element of truth to it. Or we just brainwashed them, even in the case of, let's say, American girls who don't particularly dislike men, there is a level of self-importance to them that is utterly repulsive. Self-importance with no corresponding abilities or attractiveness. They have the self-importance of like a 17th century European aristocrat. It's like, yeah, you can be self-important, love. You have 2,000 acres of land. You're an heiress. You actually are important in this society. Now that's like a lot of American girls. Not all, to be fair, not all. So if you're an American guy, it's going to be tougher. You're going to have to, it's going to be more work to find the right girl. You may have to move cities. You may have to go on your travels a little bit. But anyway, you can't fully blame the girls either, because it's female nature. They're designed to be brainwashed. Look at any cult and you will see that most of the followers are women. Look at Rasputin in Russia with all his bitches, yeah? Rasputin, the Siberian peasant, yeah? Who came and he healed Alexander's son's haemophilia, kind of hypnotized his family, and he had all these on it. This is like the main thing he's known for. I may even do an actual video on Rasputin at some point as a seduction figure. He's a very enigmatic, interesting man. But he was a cult leader, right? You see these guys like Osho, whatever. They're mostly followed by women. Okay, so you see trends and so on. Women always hop on trends more. Their brains are much more wired for social approval. Even girls I know, like girls I know who are like graduates from Oxford University, they still have the same female nature. I have discussions with them, and they say things like, you know, but the accepted opinion is this. I'm like, yeah, but that's not even an argument to an intelligent man. The accepted opinion doesn't matter. Yeah, the accepted opinion on so many things is complete garbage. But they are innately, neurologically wired for approval seeking and to seek their guidance from the group norms, which is why if you can start to warp the culture, you will warp the women, and that's obviously what happened in the US. It's very unfortunate. American guys, if you want to get out, I am definitely your man. To be honest with you, I've lived in 17 different countries. If you're interested in international dating, and you want to kind of get the lowdown, because a lot of guys come to places like Colombia, for example, and they get almost literally raped in some cases, but they get into all sorts of bad situations. They're also going to the wrong places as well. Colombia, and people think, it's hilarious to me, the mainstream, as it's wrong with everything, they think places like Colombia and Brazil are good for dating. What the fuck are you talking about? Go to the Dominican Republic, my friend. Yeah, if you want to find a place that is good for dating, that's in this hemisphere, yeah, go to the DR. Yeah, do not. You're wasting your time with places like Brazil and Colombia. Yeah, Colombian girls are quite attractive, but what I've realised here, I'll get back to. I'll just do a brief aside on this. So I do daytime cold approach, which you can see on my channel. I do tons and tons of approaches on video, in off video. That's how I meet women, and I've developed a very high level of proficiency for it. I've kind of codified it into a system, which I just run on autopilot. It's not like I'm being a robot in my interactions, but I just do it on autopilot now, and that's what I teach guys to do. But what I found out here in Colombia is there's a deep death in the soul of Colombia. There's a deep, dark, black void in the soul of Colombian people, which I found very shocking. The more time I've been here, you don't notice it for quite a while, but the more time I've been here, the more I've realized, wow, this country is fucked. Yeah, I've talked about it in different lives, and I just fundamentally, even though some of the girls are genuinely attractive, I just don't trust Colombian girls at all. I don't trust them at all, especially from around Medellin, not at all. Just as on any level, it's the type of thing where even a middle class girl, if I brought her back to my place, I'm like looking around thinking, is she like, make sure I keep my jewelry to the side. And this is a girl who's like middle class with a job. You don't know where they begin and end, which is that's not the case in most of the countries that I've been to. That's not going to happen to you with a Turkish girl, with a Greek girl, with a Dominican girl, probably not even with a Brazilian girl. There's something deeply, deeply broken in this country. But anyway, I have met some nice people, but I'm holding it all more at arm's length now, to be honest. And those are the nice girls I'm talking about. A really common thing is guys getting drugged here off apps. So this is another reason apps are satanic. They literally, in Medellin, they lead to the loss of life of probably around 60 to 70 men per year from overseas. Per year, that's more than one a week. Yeah. They meet some girl online. They think they've got to know somebody. They go for a drink with them. There's a drug called scopolamine, which is being used in these in this strategy. So they get sculpted, so which means they get drugged. You don't collapse straight away. You just slowly become incapacitated. Yeah, and you know, you leave the bar, or they have got the keys now to your house and they just rob you, or they get you in a taxi and then they take you somewhere. And often there's guys who are literally being killed every week out here in Medellin. Yeah, so, and then the other half of the girls on the apps are prostitutes. So Tinder in Medellin is a shit show is an understatement. You'd be very lucky to meet a normal girl on there. You know, for some reason out here, the girls I've met who have been the most normal are from Venezuela. They're a totally different kettle of fish. And then the girls from the northern region, ironically called Choco. And actually, a lot of those girls are black. It's like the black part of Colombia. And they're actually really nice. That's like rural, not very wealthy. And they just come here to work, and they're just simple, nice girls. So that actually, it's mostly been Venezuelan girls, and then girls from that region I've been spending more time with. But yeah, just to get back to apps, by the way, the details to my service are in the description as well. josephblakeinternational.com. Go check that out. I take guys on, you know, guys, you don't really need to go on a retreat in the woods to re-find your masculinity. What you need is probably, first of all, just a mate who gets your situation and can help you through it. Secondly, a guy who's got expertise, who can actually make the difference, who can actually train you into a complete animal, get you over that approach anxiety and get you approaching gorgeous women. Thirdly, take you around places, you know, offer you immersions in different countries in the world to actually do this. It's an amazing offer for the guys who actually, you know, so myself, for the guys who actually do take it up. It's really an incredible offer. I've had guys who come in to work with me, you know, they've got into relationships with all these exotic, actually it's been a lot of Slavic girls actually. Yeah, and that's the service that I offer. It's a 3-day immersion plus 90 days of support as well. So we do an intensive 3 days where you're hammering out approach after approach in a way you never imagined possible. And I'm giving you very specific feedback usually after every 2 to 3 approaches. Just really, so you know exactly what a good approach is, and it's just a life-changing experience, to be honest. To push yourself in that way, you're never going to do it on your own. Not to that intensity. Your average person, anyway. I think, like I always think, if someone's just really sick at cold approach naturally, and they just do it in the daytime naturally, they've either got to be raised in a culture like Cuba or the Dominican, where that is quite normal, or they're just some kind of a sociopath or something. Your average guy, it's going to take some practice, it takes some training. You can see on my infields how proficient I am, but you know, the emotional fear that I used to feel was pretty significant. It's taken a long time just to kind of get over that. And to tell you the truth, there's still lots of times where I'm going for approaches and I feel that little flutter. Yeah, but now I've got the experience to know, it's no big deal, it's just an approach. Dude, you've done 1,000 of them, it's no big deal. So that's what I help guys with, and it just changes people's lives. Because you go, you get the girl, and there you go. Like, you've got what you wanted, you've got what you paid for, and you've also connecting into a new network, and you've got me in your locker then for the next 90 days minimum. so you can continue to go out and refine your skills. And yeah, it's just such a cool thing to help guys with. Yeah, there's lots of things I could come online and talk about. I've been wanting to do some online creation for a long time, but when I realized, I always, like most guys, like I want to keep my personal escapades to myself and my lifestyle to myself. But at a certain point, you kind of realize, man, guys really need help here, and I can help. I can really help here. So that's how my channel came to take this, basically focus on this material. So yeah, I am here to help, basically. So you can go see the website. You can book a call if you see someone. I'd recommend looking at one or two of my infields, just so you know really what cold approach actually looks like. And if it's something you can see yourself doing, get on a call with me. Go check out the website, but book a call. Don't mess around, because we've got 1 month left of the summer. I do have one or two. I've got 2 weekends available for immersions in August. So yeah, if it's an opportunity you want to grasp and take that forward with you into autumn and then through winter, and you've just got it then for the rest of your life, this area of your life is then solved. And it's a kind of balls maxing thing as well. I mean, God, I advocate, improving your social circle. I advocate nighttime approach. I advocate all of it. But if you can do daytime approach, you've knocked out everything else. Everything else is easy, because it takes a lot more guts and a lot more competence to go over and get a girl's number just in the street, as compared to in a club or a bar or in your social scene. That's obviously, it's more low key. It's more kind of the norm. So once you've got this knocked out, everything else it's just like the dominoes just fall. So it has so many impacts on you. But yeah, just to get back to the apps, first of all, I was going on a sociological tangent there about how many things have already changed in society for men, and to the point, this is why the game itself, that's why game came along, because men realize, just having a job and being a decent guy, this is not getting us very far these days. What's happened? Well, the pill, abortion, changing sexual norms from the 1960s, that's basically what happened. And then you add on to that consumer culture, which specifically targets women, gasses them up. Then you have Instagram, gasses them up. Then you have the apps as well, which we've all seen the charts, which is like 5% of the men getting all the matches. I get some matches on Tinder, depending on which country I'm in. So in the UK, there is no chance I'm getting matched with a 20 to 30-year-old woman of any description, like none at all. I'm 40, because they're going to put the age thing on. In some countries, like here in Colombia, I do get a lot of matches, but at least 50% of them are prostitutes, and I just don't trust them. I just don't trust the matches, to be honest. Dominican is actually pretty good. Yeah, that would be one country I would recommend. But I always notice I just get girls that are a notch or two hotter in real life. And then there's also that magic kind of, we actually get along. That's cool. You're doing all these different approaches. And then sometimes it can be tough, I'm not going to sell you that it's the easiest thing in the world. And then suddenly, all of a sudden, you do an approach and it's like, oh wow, we got on great, that was amazing. Oh, she's single as well, fantastic. And then you just off to the races. All you need is one. At the end of the day, all you need for an amazing personal life is one. It's like me and my friend were talking about, I laughed and he goes, we were talking about the Playboy life and stuff, and he's like, yeah, I kind of feel like one is the sweet spot. It's like, yeah, it's almost like all the religions and stuff, it's almost like they had a point. Yeah, just get one girl, that's enough, trust me, that's enough, and get on with your life. If I got arrested, why would I get arrested, my friend? It's a bizarre thing to say. I posted a live yesterday. weird comment. So yeah, the Satanism of these apps. And the other thing, aside, and obviously for most guys it's going to reduce your self-esteem, and I would actually argue, even guys I see doing well on apps, I just think you could be doing a bit better in real life if you just learned some charisma. I've got friends who actually do quite well. They're definitely like top 5% looks, and I still look at the girls they're with and I'm like, I don't think she's attractive enough for you, mate. I don't think she's got the personality either. But anyway, I mean, if you can sort your personal life out in that way, good for you. But I personally, I think it leads to a degrading relationship over time, because ultimately your girl needs to know that you're a good fisherman. She needs to know. She needs to know that if you wanted to, you could go out there and catch a fish. You don't want to because you like her. But she needs to know that. And what better way for her to know that than you caught her. You went over to her in the day and you caught her. It's unspoken, but it's always going to be there. And it's a very healthy fear for a woman to have. They like to have that fear. Because we all want what is in demand, but especially women. They definitely want a man who's in demand, a man who can get what he wants. Yeah? It's very attractive to them. Yeah? They don't want a little... It's the difference between... A son, a little boy, does what he's told and he's a good little boy. That's not what a grown woman wants. That's what we've turned men into, but that's not what a grown woman wants. Yeah? Any woman over 18 doesn't want that. Yeah? So, the fact that you've got proven fisherman skills, she knows you could be the naughty boy and you could go off. She knows it. They're very, very, very sensitive to this. She knows it. And it's unspoken, it's just going to be there in the background. Sorry, but there'll be a bit of noise. I'm just going past it's quite busy roads here. Which, I think this is a great realization. So that's there in the background. You've basically got pre-selection for your entire relationship. Yeah? And I think if you're just desperately scrolling on the apps, it's sort of, it doesn't really command that respect. There is a certain respect that you have from women you've cold approached and you end up with them. It's they hold you in higher esteem, to be honest with you. It's just unspoken. It's something I've seen a lot of. It's not to say there are some issues. One of the issues with approach is to actually build leverage, like social leverage, and to have a bit more leverage within the ongoing contact with the woman. That's a bit more hit and miss with daytime approach. And also, you just never know, because you don't know the girl socially. Often they really do have boyfriends. If you know the girl socially, you've got a bit more leverage. But the plus side is, I can't approach 60 in my social circle in a weekend, which I can do in daytime approach. So the plus side is also way outweighs it by far. So there's that kind of lack of respect of your machismo, of your fundamental sex appeal, because you came through an app, and yeah, maybe you did some looks maxing on the app. Okay, fine. That is really not going to last that long in your relationship. It's a depressing realization for men. Your looks, once you're in the relationship, don't make so much difference, to be honest. It's really behavior, leadership qualities, etc. There's that lack of respect. The next one from apps as well, and this is the biggest one. This is the biggest one. I'll shout this one aloud as I'm walking around as I'm walking down past this dual carriageway here. The biggest one and the worst thing about apps is learned passivity. Learned passivity. That is the biggest detrimental impact of apps. Learned passivity. I will do a video just on this. learned passivity amongst young men under the age of 40. You know, it would be taken as a given for a 70-year-old man who just got a wife and just whatever. It would be taken as a given something active needed to happen. Either you needed to go and speak to her, you were in a group with your friends and your friends mingled in with her and her friends. Something active had to happen. You didn't have to be a Superman, but you had to do something. You'd ask for the girl's number. You'd ask, okay, like my grandparents, Mary and Joseph, God rest their souls. You know, my granddad met my grandma on the bus, and then I don't even think he got a number. I think he said, right, I'll see you on Friday. I'll pick you up at 7 o'clock on Friday. And so I went to pick her up at 7 o'clock on Friday, and that was how they met. You know, and many thousands of moons later, here I am walking around Medellin. So thank you, Joseph and Mary, for that, for this gift to me and to my siblings and to my family, right? So something had to move, action had to happen, and that was a very normal story. Almost everyone's parents met in that way. The boomers, something happened. There was some type of activity, right? At a baseline level across society. Now what we've got is a very, very passive creature, and this is not something that's natural to man. It's not something that these people have got genetically. There's nothing wrong with you genetically. You're absolutely fine. What has happened is you have learned passivity. You've learned passivity. You've been given an easy false option, which is to swipe on a screen. And if that doesn't work, you go, okay, well, there's no pussy coming out the coconut, so to speak. Right? I'm banging the tree, the coconut's just not falling down. I use that metaphor actually because learned passivity was first discovered in basically ape populations. What they found is if you kind of if you basically continuously electric shock an ape, at first they'll go crazy and they'll try and resist it and fight it. But if they can't predict the stimulus, they've got no control over it, and there's nowhere they can go to escape it, eventually they just learn passivity. They just sit there and do nothing. It's I think that's a great metaphor for where men are right now. They're sitting there doing fuck all, yeah? And I'm here to wake some of you guys up, yeah? Let's fucking go get it, boys, yeah? You fuck these apps and these fucking investment funds who want to siphon your money, which is just your life force, basically. Money is completely conceptual. It has no value other than the labor that we give to it. So they're suctioning off your life force, your labor, for themselves, so that they can do coke. And they're pussies as well, they're fucking prostitutes as well. So the whole thing is just one big satanic circle jerk, right? So do not allow these companies and the people that work for them, do not allow them. The big middle fucking finger to these guys, the greatest, honestly, cold approach. We've got to a point where cold approaching a woman has become a spiritual, political act. A big middle fucking finger to a system that wants you completely fucking passive, swiping on a screen, fucking depressed, yeah? If they wanted you to be happy, they could do matchmaking. They could actually slightly tweak things. They could do facial ratings on the women. They could rate the women into some kind of desirability, and they could match you with people who were in your quote-unquote league, which is what social sorting used to do. They could do that. They don't want to fucking do it, yeah? They'll get the women on there because it's easy. It's some easy dick with, let's say guy's 9 out of 10. He'll still fuck a 7. And the 7's quite attractive, so she's got a lot of matches. She's got a lot of options. She wants the guy who's a 9. Obviously, it's human nature. We all want the best. We all want slightly better, actually. We all want slightly better than we... Permiso. We all want slightly... That was a funny one. We all want slightly better. Sometimes on live it's good to do a little stop. We all want slightly better than we can actually get. And so obviously you can't fully blame the girls, right? You can't fully blame them, right? You just can't. But I would also say, specifically to American guys, you need to be utterly ruthless with your women going forwards. You know, when they start complaining in their 40s and 50s, do not get behind them. Don't say, I always believe women are great. Stop all that bullshit. You're a bunch of cocks over in the USA. The reason I'm quite passionate about the US because you guys are the leaders of the West, mate. That's why. If it was I don't give a fuck what happens in China. I don't care. I utterly don't care. Doesn't affect me, doesn't affect any of the countries that I like at all. Yeah, but where the US goes, if either other countries will directly follow, or it will have a substantial impact, dude. It will have a substantial impact. And it's unfortunately it's a culture that's been so subverted. Oh my God, I could go on for fucking 30 minutes just based on that. I mean, it really has been subverted. When you think about what it was 50 years ago. Fuck me. But yeah, anyway, that passivity, that is the worst thing about this whole, that's the worst effect of apps. And it's really, this is why I say they're worse than Satan. It's worse than Satanism, right? Because to even go, to go to a club, yeah, go and do coke and go and, grind up some women when you're actually hammered, that actually does take a little bit of activity. You actually have to get off your arse and go and do something. And it's not a great opening story to how you met. It's not the romantic hero like my cold approach guys have, daytime cold approach, springing out of nowhere like a fucking knight in shining armor. It's not that, but it's actually still pretty it's still all right. It's a story. We were hammered, the music was crazy, and then this guy, he tried to pull me. I was like, fuck it, I'll pull him. That's how these things start off, or they used to start off. At least that took activity at a mass level. What I find really concerning is I see a lot of, I watch videos about apps and the effects. This stuff was known about for a long time, but now it's really widespread. And I watch the videos on them, and all everyone talks about is results on apps, success on apps. What terrifies me for the future of civilization is men aren't even considering not being on apps. That is fucking terrifying. It hasn't even occurred to them. You don't have to be on a fucking app to get pussy. Yeah? The pussy is between the girl's legs. The woman, right? Let's not reduce her just to her. Right. You know what I'm saying though, right? I'm being crude. You don't have to be on apps to get a woman. You can just go out into the street with the right skills, some confidence, and a bit of brotherhood alongside you. Yeah, guys you can check in with. Yeah, this is part of my service. I'm part of a mastermind as well. I love to support guys who are, they message me or something, I'm going out to do a session, whatever. If I can't be with, my preference is to be with people physically, and then I do my approaches, you do yours, that's the best. But if that's not possible, then I can still do the remote check-in. How's it going, mate? What happens? Could we get some audios? And trust me, I mean, it depends on what kind of case you are. But the guys who actually take advantage of that, that's really what separates the men from the boys, to be honest. Some guys come on an immersion thinking they're going to meet their wife on an immersion. You might do. No one's met their wife yet, but people have met girlfriends on the immersion. But you can't guarantee that. What you can guarantee is you'll do more approaches than you've ever done, and you'll learn skills. The real work happens when you go, okay, right, I've learned this, now I'm going to go and I'm going to apply what Joseph said. I'm going to go out once a week, I'll do 5 approaches, and I'll message him back. And over a 12-week stint, yeah, that's going to be 60 more approaches. Those are low numbers, by the way. But within that, you're going to get some success. And the most extreme case, I've talked about it like so many times, but I've had guys go out the next week, they go and get laid the next week. But the most extreme case was a 37-year-old virgin with Asperger's syndrome, who he powered on for a long time because obviously, and he was in an awful location for cold approach as well. nothing. This guy is like, he's legitimately Ethan, dude. His story is my favorite. It's my favorite of all time, because the guy is legitimately the Hercules of cold approach. Like, absolutely, legitimately, dude. A 37-year-old virgin with Asperger's syndrome in a dog shit place to approach, like, some provincial southeastern little village was where he was doing his approaches. And he just stuck at it. He sent me audios in. And what was really interesting was he kept at it and he kept at it and he kept at it. And there was a certain point he sent me an audio in, I think it was of a gym approach he did. And he sent me a few audios in. I thought, verbally, the guy is now perfect. His approaches are now perfect. We sorted out some of his non-verbals on the immersion. I just remember thinking, like, if he keeps going, he's going to get someone. He's going to get someone. And so I just find that such a truly inspiring story. In his case, it was actually like a life achievement. Like, it really was. Yeah. So guys with Asperger's, with autism, definitely don't lose heart. I've actually had a couple of students who've, another student as well who's had autism, actually also did fucking absolutely crushed it as well. Because, the social angle is one aspect with women, but if it's a profile that you're presenting, right? So your confidence, how well you actually, manage the interaction, but then also, like, what you're looking like. You go to the gym, are you well dressed? If you tick, the more of these boxes you tick, some social difficulties, they're going to get overlooked, really, And even if the woman actually they still might fancy you anyway, to be honest. There's definitely girls who are like, yeah, he's autistic, but I just think he's really fucking hot, for sure. Like, as if there's not autistic girls that I fancy, So, I think actually, in retrospect, I wonder if I've been with a girl who had mild autism. Something I've questioned as I've got older. So, it's definitely not a write-off. I'm splitting image. No, dude, it's unfortunate that I happen to have a similar... I don't have a similar... First of all, I'm white. I'm Irish white. I'm not mixed race, right? Tate's obviously mixed race. But he's a bald guy who walks around in sunglasses. You tell me, if you're bald, what options you actually have. Yeah? You've got beard and sunglasses. Those are your style options, yeah? So there's a lot of us rolling with this style. He's obviously fairly intelligent. He understands... He understands the game of style, right? So yeah, he's gone for the same style. But it is quite funny. The funny thing is as well, some of his angles, there's stuff that I've said in the past. And when he came onto the scene, a few of my friends were like, dude, this guy reminds me of you. Some of the stuff that he says. I mean, it's not exactly rocket science. A lot of the stuff that he says, it's just stuff that everybody already knows, but for some reason people just don't want to actually say. But there's also a lot of stuff I don't agree with, actually, that he says, that I think it's incredibly self-serving. He talks about you have to be 6'5" and a billionaire and beautiful and all of this to get women. It's total garbage. And if you look at the girls he's fucking with, you look at his wives, I'm sure he's had incredibly hot girls, but I'm like, dude, I'm getting with girls that are more attractive than you. So, yeah. There's a girl just messaging now who's a singer here, in Venezuelan girl who's a singer. I might be going to meet her after this live. She's fucking smokes, dude. You can see it on my infields. And looks, by the way, are overrated even in women, by the way. Yeah. So it's nice to know that you can approach an attractive woman, but you realise they've got personal faults just as much as anybody else, and in some cases have grievous personal faults, possibly because they're good looking. That's a tragic one. And so for me, the girl's character is all important, because I'm at the business end now. I'm 40 years old. But yeah, I mean, we all want someone who's sexually arousing to us. Let's put it that way. But yeah, you don't need to be a billionaire. You don't need to be 6'5". See what happens with that guy. I'm skeptical. I am skeptical about his case, to be honest with you. The British government is, I don't want to go into that, but it's a verminous group of people, man. Verminous group of people. They're not even gangsters. They're the lavender human rights mafia. That's what they are. Pathetic. Awful bunch of people. Awful bunch of people. If you knew who, the idea that they're these tyrannical despots who are like geniuses, that in a way would be reassuring, because at least that's respectable. At least those be people you would have the respect of fearing. The worst part about someone like a place like the UK government is the people, the level of beta you are dealing with is, and slimy little wormball is unimaginable to a normal person. Yeah, these are not like the alpha kings or something. It's not like that at all. So obviously they're going to hate someone like him, obviously. But yeah, anyway, so the learned passivity, I've talked about that. The ape being electrocuted. You can see on this channel, like I talk about stuff. I have another job, right? I have another job. Aside from running immersions, this is an absolute passion that I want eventually to make into my full-time position in society. It's helping men, specifically with this question with their dating life, because I know I've got the skills to do it. But and ultimately, it's better for everyone. It's better for families. It's better for the girls. Better for everybody. The guys just need education. But I'm taking fucking risks coming onto these lives, mate, making 400 videos and talking the way that I do. Yeah, I'm actually taking risks. Yeah, so yeah, if you think I'm just in a position where I'm just chilling, and it's like, this, it's all right for this guy. No, trust me, it's not all right for me, dude. It's not. It's definitely not. Yeah. If I could speak to guys in a different way without being on a public forum like this, that would be my preference. A bit more discretion, and you'd be good for everybody. But it's not. That is not my position. So, yeah. The reason I'm saying that is not to be grandiose. It's just to let you know, as a viewer, whatever your struggles and fights are, I'm struggling and fighting at least as much, if not more, because I'm coming here and on the internet, putting stuff out on the internet, which it definitely leaves you open, man. But it's a righteous cause. I'm not ashamed of anything either. That's the other thing. So, yeah. So I was talking about passivity. Anything else? I think that was the main thing. So whether you're a Nietzschean vitalist, which I think is the only other sensible position in modernity in terms of your spiritual beliefs, or you are actually maybe there's another one, or you're a Christian, or you're an Orthodox Christian, or a Catholic. Catholicism got subverted though, boys. Come on. This is not the woke Pope, boys. What are we and if you know who subverted it as well, it's a whole other question. That's why the orthos, that's why the orthos command respect. But what is Christianity about? It's about sacrificing yourself in the present moment so that the future is better. And the ultimate sacrifice was God becoming a human being and sacrificing himself in the most brutal way imaginable for crimes he never committed, for being the perfect moral person. And for all those crimes, he was whipped, thrashed, and crucified. Yeah. So he wasn't just sacrificing for his own future; he's sacrificing to show a moral example for the rest of humanity. Right. So that's, but it's about sacrifice. And if you're a Christian, really, I think you should be on board with, this kind of muscular Christianity or the ortho bros. Go do it in person, man. Go do it in fucking person. You do not need, I'm pretty sure if Nazareth can get nailed up to a cross for being the most perfect human, moral human that's ever existed, I'm pretty sure you can go and do a cold approach even if you're shitting yourself. Yeah? What do you reckon? talk about following the guy's example. People make out that they just being a nice. Jesus was not just a fucking nice guy, dude. He died. He died to show the example to others. Hey, and he didn't just die any old way. And he knew he was gonna die. And everyone, the thing that makes me question about that guy is everybody who knew him chose death rather than to denounce him. And they could have just said, yeah, I don't actually think he was the Son of God, because I don't want to get sawn in half or crucified, which is what happened to his disciples. They all said it as well. So, the disciples, my brothers, yeah, if they can get flayed alive, skinned, and then, it's fucking, honestly, I can't wait to leave Medellin. What a shithole of a place. But if they can get, it's not the place, it's the people. Honestly, utterly. I'll come back. I'll circle back round to these people in a minute. But yeah, if the disciples can get flayed alive, I'm pretty sure you can do a few cold approaches. What do you think? I'm pretty sure you can get yourself off the fucking apps. Yeah. The disciples weren't the sons of God. Yeah, they weren't divine. Yeah, they took it way worse than a bullet for their beliefs. They would have dreamt as a bullet some of the levels of torture that were applied to them. Yeah, we can't even actually comprehend the levels of torture that were applied to them. So I'm pretty sure you can suck it up and go do some approaching. Yeah. But it's also a feeling of brotherhood as well, and this is the whole thing: discipleship, brotherhood, mentorship. Guys, you don't even know what you're missing. So I try to get through to people. You don't even know what you're missing. If you've never actually been part of like a true tradition and a team and a brotherhood, which is passing knowledge from one generation to the next, from the person who starts to discipline down the generations and innovating. If you've never been part of that in anything, you don't actually really know the meaning of male life, to be honest. That is the meaning of male life, right there. That's what it is. And why would you want to have a family? So you can pass your wisdom, you can pass your life, you can pass your teachings and DNA on to the next generation. That is literally the point of life. If you're just a robotic unit in a corporation, just trying to fit in, trying to seek approval by all these fucking HR metrics, or you're just a solo unit out there somewhere in the world sitting in a box, typing away on your computer, even if you're a digital nomad. Some of these guys sometimes get in touch with me. And you're not part of any type of tribe or any type of brotherhood. You're just missing out. It's the biggest thing that's missing in all of society. It's not women, all that shit will come. All of that stuff will come. It's not the girls. And this is the problem, is guys they've made a fucking, this is Americans again, but English guys as well. Honestly, I'm gonna go even a step further on this one. We're gonna go a step further. There are a lot of migrants in the. This is not going where you think it is. There's a lot of basically Indians, Pakistanis, and black guys who have white women on a pedestal, which is completely fucking absurd, right? And actually, they have women on a pedestal, full stop, man. Women on a pedestal, full stop. I love women, obviously. I spend a lot of time out seducing, being in the field, but you cannot put them on a pedestal where Nazareth belongs, my friends. Yeah, or whether the vital energy of the universe belongs. You can't put them on a kind of pedestal like that. You can't do it. You can't do it. And in the short term, you might get them. You might actually get them in the short term. If you're attractive and they like the ego boost, you actually might get them in the short term. Yeah. But please, let's just stop with the worship. Okay? I didn't. Some people they get pissed off about it. It's like white guys get annoyed. I'm like, no, you fucking take them. Take them away. I don't fucking want them, right? But yeah, we can't be doing this worshipping. Yeah. So whether it's countries, whether it's races, whatever the fuck it is, we can't be doing the worshipping, right? Yeah. By all means, pursue whoever you want. Seduce whoever you want, yeah. But then on the back end, you've got to start to lead these girls, right? You've got to start to lead them, step up and lead them. not worship them. They're not deities, for God's sakes. Fuck me, dude. The way to deal with women as well is don't talk. Don't talk about leading them, just do it. Don't talk about, if something's annoyed you, you tell them it's annoyed you, and then you fucking walk out and leave and you don't speak to them for 2 hours. Yeah? That's if you actually want to modify their behavior, that's how you do it. That's actually how you do it. To be honest though, you're better off, honestly, if a girl consistently makes bad moves, you are better off leaving her, to be honest. Even if she's attractive, because they'll tend to repeat. The pattern will tend to repeat. But yeah, if you don't get into drama with women. Just leave, walk out and leave. Call them a taxi and they can go. Just say, I've got to go to work. Even if they know it's a lie, they can't say anything. And then just leave. Yeah. Your absence is much more effective in getting what you want. It's getting behavior modification than anything else. That's the ultimate punishment for a woman, is abandonment. Ultimate biological punishment is abandonment. So you claim her, but if she doesn't behave well, and I'm not talking about anything ridiculous, I'm just saying if she gets too bratty, bully her, get her in a headlock, and if that doesn't work, or she's causing serious problems. If it's something serious, that's what you do. That's what you do. So these are not people to be worshipped. Think of it as a bit like, she's a grown woman, but she's also a bit of a child. There's got an inner child inside them that needs to be raised, okay? And you just got to do it, okay? So yeah, learn passivity, boys. You need to get yourselves over that one. Was there anything else on the apps front? Obviously, it's created a generation of men who are obsessed with their looks. I think, looks are a proxy for health. So being in good shape, being healthy is great, obviously. But being well dressed, style is something that I actually like myself. If you're going to get into cold approach, first impressions do count. So I don't think style is important to relationships, to be honest. But if you're going to get into cold approach and you want to date and improve your odds, I actually would recommend improving style. I would recommend improving your style. And then just learning some of the dark arts as well. As I say, Satan is basically addiction. That's what Satan is, basically. Yeah, but learning the dark arts of seduction, that's a different thing. That's actually very healthy. That's nature. So you can learn some of that stuff. Learn to be more assertive. I think a lot of people have got trauma and issues from childhood, on top of the general issues that are affecting society. So it's not a good situation. If you look at the stats, we are basically at a civilizational extinction level on reproduction at this point. And that brings me around to this place, Medellin. So the first month I was, because they've got, they're at catastrophic replacement rates here in Medellin, which you wouldn't think, right? You think Colombia, there'll all be these seducers and everything. I honestly, very disappointed with the Colombians. They're very, very, in this area here, the middle class area, it's the most learned helplessness I've ever seen. The men are pathetic. Honestly, they're below, they're not I've never seen anything more passive than the guys here. I've never seen anything worse. Awful situation. They've been marched around by their feminist girlfriend with the tattoos on her arm, with her 3 fucking dogs, little rat dogs, which obviously she bought. That's the norm in this area around here. The most passive, pathetic men I've ever seen, the middle class ones. And then the guys who are, in all the barrios and stuff, yeah, they've got their shit together. They are actually a lot more manly, but they live in the barrios, dude. Do you know what I mean? They're earning $300 a month. That's limited as well. So they're either kind of wild animals or completely over domesticated apes, basically. Awful culture. I also don't trust any of them as well. Very, very slimy, scheming people, the Colombians. Yeah. Like Dominicans, for example, I would say I trust the majority of them, probably 80%. The bad guys, I know who they are. The manipulative, devious ones, I know who they are, right? These people are, Colombians are something else, dude. Something else, especially from Medellin. I think even Pablo Escobar said it. He said something like, Colombia is a beautiful country, ruined by something, it's something like horrible people or something like that. And it's weird because it's not like they're, here's the thing that fucks with you is they are friendly. They are friendly as well. Yeah, that's the weird part. So yeah, I'm looking forward to leaving. I like people who are straightforward. I know where they begin and ends. You know, these people, fuck me. You just can't tell. And then even that, I wouldn't. Even that, I'll be like, yeah, okay, they're just kind of, you know, whatever. They're a bit slimy, but I get it. Even that, I would still have some kind of potential respect for them. But then I'm walking around here, it's like they're like that, and they're also these passive little, pathetic little dweebs. It's pathetic, dude. It's pathetic. And even the way they rob people as well, the way they rob people like in the barrios and stuff, it's like they use girls to lure them in. It's just a verminous way of existing. So, yeah. Hopefully ICE gets all the fucking Colombians out, fucking throws them in the sea. Yeah. Latinos are a mixed bag, but Dominicans I get on with pretty well. Brazilians I find alright as well. They're not really Latinos. Cubans, they're a mixed bag as well. Dominicans are the ones I like the most, to be honest. Peruvians are quite nice as well. They're not the machista type, they're just nice people. But yeah, learned passivity, I've seen a lot of this in this area. So yeah, with that, boys, I'll leave it there. You want to find out more about my service, I take guys on international adventures all over the world. I basically break you out of your shell of timidity and shyness. I can break, you know, you can, I say I do it, you do it, you just have me as your coach. And you break out of possibly decades of, and in fact usually decades of frustration. And the feeling of freeness you have on the other side is just fucking priceless, dude. It's priceless. Yeah, and then you get the brotherhood as well. And this is the last thing I'll say here is you sort these other things out first. You get some balls, you get some confidence, you build a brotherhood. This is the long-term ambition. It's long-term. It's going to be a lot of work to do this. I mean, the rest of my life, possibly, to do this. But the long-term value of that brotherhood, I think it's the only thing that can save us. I think it's literally that serious a situation. I can see it so clearly. Everyone is isolated. All the talented men are all isolated. The people who see reality for what it is, they're all isolated. You're useless, you're not going anywhere if you're isolated. So building a brotherhood, building respectability, so that in, you know, in 2-3 generations, you know, all of our sons or grandsons are together, or whatever, granddaughters. What the fuck is going on? Oh, we've got a scrap. Wait, this is actually fucking hilarious. Like a 60-year-old man's wanting to fight the guys in the petrol station that they've just fucking chinned him. Good for these guys, man. That's the most action I've seen in Laureles, full stop. Such a rubbish fight. I think it was the guy's dog. Yeah, well, you got beaten up for your dog there, mate. There's like security guards and shit as well. Yeah, that's not a smart move though. That's the type of thing so Dominican is interesting because people don't really scrap. I quite like it because you never really see scraps, because if there's a scrap, it won't just end there. They'll go home, get a gun, and they'll come back and shoot the guy. Well, that's hilarious, dude. You scrap at the petrol station. It's weird because this street is the only street I've had. I quite like being in South America where there's action. Like that was not very good, but the first few weeks here there was a lot of shooting and stuff. I actually quite like it. That's kind of why I'm here. I'm like, I need a bit of a frisson of excitement. This is weird. I think they're going to go for round 2, you know, because the guys are still at work. And yeah, there was a shooting actually down here. There's a policeman shot a guy who refused to stop, and I think he reached for a gun or something. That was quite by the taco shop. That was quite exciting. But actually, the first month was exciting. There was a World Cup on. I was buzzing to be here. We were doing loads of approach, loads of dating and stuff. And you don't really get a grip on the place. There was genuinely like a lot of shootings and stuff in the first month. Now it's all just it's just comatose at this point. Yeah, around here. So I'm looking forward to leave. Colombia is finished as a country, by the way. As a country, Medellin's finished. Their replacement rate is 0.9. They are finished. Game over. Yeah, it's completely game over. It's obvious to me, like walking around the richest area of the city, which is where I'm staying, and you've got all of these couples who are in prime family age. They're just walking dogs around. Nah, dude, that ain't normal. That's not normal. That's not normal. I think in the 2 months I've been here, I've seen about 3 prams, and a lot of these like 20s, 30s, 40s couples, they all have dogs, and this is the richest area. This could escalate, mate. This would be quite good. Anyway, I will. I'll leave you boys to it. Hopefully, you've enjoyed the live. Yeah, if you're looking to pull the ripcord and get out of hell, which is a dating market in some countries, and get off the apps, you know where I am. It'll be a very exciting infield coming up tomorrow as well. Look out for that. I'm gonna get my coffee, and then I'm gonna go do some approach. I think we'll do 3 for them. Oh my god! So he's getting petrol, this guy. Yeah, but you know, you're going around with your dog, mate. These idiots all think that their dog is a human. Like that's a prime example right there. Prime example. Multiply that by everyone. I'm not joking. I've never seen anything like it. So anyway, boys, we'll leave it there. Take it easy. Eventful way to end the live.